Hi, in this video, we're going to talk about the informative speech assignment. Another video will talk about the actual structure that we're going to use for the informative speech, but this is the basic assignment. You do have this on Canvas, but I really want to go over it so that I can give you some tips here and there on putting your speech together. So the primary objective of this speech is to inform an audience or teach your audience about a topic of interest. And so you want to think about, and we're going to talk more about topics in a little bit, but you want to think about something that you're just telling us about, not persuading. You will get the chance to persuade, and that's later, but for this speech, you just want to inform about a topic. You will be signing up for this speech. We will have 2 days to give these speeches, and we will be signing up for those on Canvas. And on that day, you will turn in your typed outline and your works cited before you speak. So what I'm doing with my speeches is I'm giving you modules. And so there will be an informative module. And in there, you'll have your practice day, and that's where you'll give me your first draft of your outline. And then you will have the actual assignment, and that's where you'll submit your outline and works cited. And then there'll be another link if you are going to upload a video. So all those will be in that informative module. The time frame is 5 to 7 minutes. Like I told you at the beginning, I will always give you a range. So you have 5 to 7. So you always want to shoot for the middle. So if you go too short or too long, you'll still hit the time frame. So really think about this time frame as 6 minutes and shoot for that. If you go over time, I won't do anything until you hit 10 minutes. If you hit 10 minutes and you see me in my little box going, that doesn't mean, oh, thank you so much for going long. It means time, stop. So I will give you all the way till 10 minutes, and then I'm going to tell you to stop. So that's really important. I had one student last semester, I think he went 15 minutes, even after I gave him the time signal. So you want to make sure that if you see me doing that you wrap up your speech and stop. Realistically, people are not going to listen to you after 7 minutes. Think about the classes that you take. If the teacher keeps talking after you're supposed to leave, are you listening anymore? Probably not. So there's no use to going overtime because people are not going to listen to you anymore. We know how long it's supposed to be, and we're not going to give you any more time than that. No matter how interesting you think your topic is, and I'm sure it is, I'm not saying it's not, but we are not going to listen to you after 7 minutes. That's just the way it is, unfortunately, or fortunately. Topic selection, we'll be talking about that separately, but you want to make sure you let me know what your topic is so that I know that it is informative and also that it's not persuasive. Because really, when you think about topics, the first thing that's going to pop into your head is something that you're passionate about. And it's usually a persuasive topic. So we're going to go away from that for this speech, and you're going to make sure that, or I will make sure that it's an informative topic. A lot of times you might think of a persuasive topic and we can tweak it so that it's not persuasive. So there's that option as well. Or you just save it for persuasive and then pick another topic for informative. But the important thing is that you do sign it up with me. Supporting materials, you need to use your own knowledge first, and then you're going to research and find 3 other sources. One source can be an interview. And so if you, say, are doing your grandmother's recipe for cake or something, and you want to cite her, then you can. Or say you're doing a sport and you want to cite your coach, you can do that as well. So you can use one person as a source, but the other 2 need to be written. You cannot cite yourself. I know this is probably information that you know, and that's great, but that's inherent that we know that. So you can't say, according to me, this, and this. Okay, so you want to make sure you have 3 outside sources. And remember, it's really important that you do cite them verbally within your speech. I will be also uploading a speech to Canvas so that you can see what one looks like and see how they cite their sources. So that will also be up there for you. Audience analysis is really important. You need to think about your audience and what are they going to be interested in. You don't want to go over their heads with some crazy theory that there's no way they're going to understand it. So, for example, if you're really into photography and you take your pictures on film and you take it into the dark room and that's where you develop your pictures, that's great, and that's interesting. But how many of us are going to get into a dark room and use that information? So you want to think about your topic and think about, okay, what's this audience going to want to know about that? Okay, so really think about your audience when you're thinking about first your topic and then how you're going to talk about that topic to this audience. I know you haven't gotten to know people very well in our class because we are online now, but you can usually, think about students from 17 to probably 35 maybe is the average, but then we do have older students as well. So just think about that. You're not going to be able to apply everything to everybody, but you can, kind of try to stay within that demographic if you can. Organization and written work, you're going to type your outline and type your works cited. And the works cited needs to be MLA format, and the structure for the outline will be what we talked about in class. So those are the formats we're going to use. And then delivery. This is not a manuscript speech, so you should not read your speech. We talked about that in nervousness. You can have notes anytime you want, but they need to just have a brief outline of your speech, not your whole manuscript. So do not read your speech. Do not even write it out. Maybe in the beginning you're going to write it out, but then you're going to put it into an outline form. Visual aids. The bane of our existence right now. Because I'm teaching, the full semester courses already. And so a lot of the things that I'm noticing with the whole changing onto online, you are going to benefit from, because I can tell you what kinds of things that they're coming across with everything being online. So with visual aids, you want to start thinking out of the box. It doesn't always have to be PowerPoint. PowerPoint makes it easy when you're in the classroom. That's great. You just put it up on the projector and you're ready to go. But with online, if you're doing it in Zoom, you're going to have to share the screen. There's a lot of problems with that. If you're videotaping your speech, then how do you show it? Do you show it on your monitor? Do you show it, what do you do? So I would say just think out of the box. Maybe if you're doing a recipe, maybe you can have all the ingredients in front of you. If you're home anyway, right? So go into your kitchen, videotape it from there, and have all your stuff out. And show us how to mix up your recipe. If you are talking about how to swing a baseball bat, show us that. Go outside in your yard and have maybe your mom or your dad or your brother or whatever videotape you while you show us how to do that. That's kind of a cool thing that we can think about right now, is that we can go different places, within your your shelter, and do your speech there, and it might work out even better than when you were in your classroom. So just think out of the box. Think of different ways that you can show us what you want to show us. And so those visual aids are going to be different than if you were just in the classroom in the confines of, using a projector and such. A student in my early start class gave a speech on his chicken. And he actually brought the chicken in, and that was his visual aid. Well, now if he was doing it in the age of the pandemic, he could have taken us out to his coop and showed us the whole coop and all the other chickens, you know. So it really, we want to look at it as a opportunity to use different kinds of visual aids because you've got them right there at home. So think about it that way when you're thinking about your visual aids. Of course, though, if you use PowerPoint, please don't write your speech out on your PowerPoint. Have you ever had a teacher who read their notes to you in class off a PowerPoint? What's it like? What is it like? What do you think it would be? Boring. It's boring, okay? So the main point that I want to make with PowerPoint is it should not make sense unless you can talk about it. So if you write everything on that PowerPoint, you can just leave the room and we know what's on there and we got your speech. That's not a speech, okay? So you should be there to explain the PowerPoint. The PowerPoint should not stand on its own. So that's really important. And I usually tell people you can't give things out during your speech, but we're not there now, so that's not a problem. Since that is something, you know, then you might want to show us the actual thing. So it's not a model, it's the actual object, or, you know, and things like that. Unfortunately, you don't have the book, so we don't have our chapter on visual aids. But man, if you Google visual aids, there's tons of stuff out there. But I think my main point with visual aids is that you can do all kinds of different things now because you are at home. You could even use another person. I've had people do speeches on martial arts, and they have a person as their visual aid. And so they show, you know, the different moves and things like that in martial arts. But you want to make sure that person knows that they're going to be your visual aid. I once had a student ask another student to be his visual aid and for martial arts. And so the guy goes, oh, yeah, I'll do it. No problem. But he didn't tell him what day his speech was. So the day of his speech, the guy comes into class ready for work with it dressed in his dress clothes. And here he is being thrown around on the ground in martial arts, and he wasn't ready for it. So make sure that your person knows that they're going to be your visual aid, and you need to practice with them ahead of time so they know what's coming, because this poor guy did not know what was coming, and it was comical. And he had dirty clothes. I don't know if he had to go home and change or what. So that wasn't good planning on the speaker's part. So you want to plan it out with your person, practice. And that person should not talk during your speech though, okay? They're only a visual aid. I had one student have a person as a visual aid, and that person talked more than the person giving their speech. So make sure that they know that what they need to do and that they shouldn't be talking. Maybe questions here and there, but they should not be doing the bulk of the speech. So just some things that have come up in other classes that will help you. All right, so my general guidelines here are to make sure you turn in your outline and we're excited before you speak. Make sure you're in the time frame. Sign up for your topic on the topic sheet. I'm not sure how I'm going to work that this time, because usually in the classroom, if you have the same speech as somebody else, obviously that's a problem. But if you're uploading your video of your speech, then that's not a problem. So I don't know. I'll work something out with that. It's a little different now because we are online. So we'll see what we'll do with that. But and then the rest of mine was being a good audience member, which we're not in the classroom anymore. So none of this stuff really works. But what I've found for Zoom, so if we're in Zoom, make sure that you are muted when you come in the classroom, especially if you're late on speech days. So mute yourself so that all the noise doesn't come across on the Zoom. And we're going to be doing ASL clapping, which is like this, so that we don't have the noise of the clapping. and people can see it. It's a little easier. And so I think I will probably have another document for you that has all the things that you need to do having to do with Zoom. And I'm learning that now through my other classes that are already doing informative. So I'll be adding to that. In your packet, I have what MLA format should look like. It's not in focus, but it's just to show you the format. I have a whole page on PowerPoint tips that you can look at. I'm not going to go over it ad nauseum. And general visual aid guidelines. So I need to go over these because these are kind of important. So make sure you prepare them ahead of time and practice with them. That's really important that you practice with them. And then videos. You can use videos, but they can only be 1 minute in length if you're not speaking. But if you, it's kind of different now with if you're uploading a video because you're speaking the whole time in a video. But my point is like an example. I had a student do a speech on CPR. She found a video on how to do CPR. It was 3 minutes long. And then she only spoke for 2 minutes. So that was not a 5-minute speech. That was showing a video for 3 minutes and speaking for 2. So it's really important that the videos are no longer than 1 minute in length if you're not speaking. But if you are doing your whole speech on video, of course that's different. But if you're showing a video within your video, then that only needs to be 1 minute. I hope that's clear. Is that clear? Was that clear to you? Okay. All right. And don't put the title of your speech on your PowerPoint. And we're going to talk about that in another video when we talk about the structure. But if you put your title of the speech on that first slide, it's going to mess up your attention getter. I know it says title right on that first PowerPoint slide. Ignore it, okay? I've had people write their name on there, or wouldn't you like to know, or something like that. But do not title that first PowerPoint, even though it tells you to. You don't need to do what the PowerPoint slide tells you to do. You need to do what I tell you to do, okay? So, yeah, don't put your title of your speech on your PowerPoint. And anytime you find yourself putting words on a PowerPoint, think about it and say, how can I show this in a better way? Can I put a picture on there? Can I put a slide, a chart, a graph, something else, but not words on a PowerPoint? If you find yourself writing more than a bullet point, stop, do something else, or don't do it at all, okay? Because that's my biggest pet peeve is words on a PowerPoint, because it should not make sense unless you're talking about it. All right, so this is the informative assignment. I'm going to ask if you have any questions about this after this video. There is going to be a portion for comments. Please ask the questions there so they're connected directly to this video, and then others can look at that and they can maybe get their questions answered as well. So thanks for listening.